Hey guys, so today I wanted to sit down with you guys and do this rant video that I've been talking about for a very long time. I have shot this video a bunch of times, but either the file got corrupted or it was just way too long. And I know I usually post really long videos, but I thought that it was just way too long, so I avoided posting it. But now that a couple of you have actually mentioned you wanted to see this video, here it is. This is my Canada Goose rant video. So this is basically stemming from almost 5 years worth of experience working with Canada Goose products. I'm going to make it very clear, I've never actually worked for Canada Goose. I worked for a company, a retail store that sold Canada Goose. As far as to my knowledge, this particular company was the biggest North America account that Canada Goose had. We sold millions of dollars worth of Canada Goose, and I'm not over-exaggerating when I say that. I personally probably have sold over $500,000 worth of Canada Goose, which is disgusting, mostly because of the fact that I was not compensated in any way, and my paychecks were sad and pathetic, and that has a lot to do with the company that I worked for. Not really Canada Goose, but kind of. But just to kind of paint a picture, I didn't work for a company like Walmart. I worked for a company that very much prided themselves on having a positive customer service experience, really building that experience for the customer, and really being able to, we had high-end clientele. We worked one-on-one with a lot of our customers. We would really put a lot of time into teaching our customers about the products. So that kind of leads me to talk about the fact that when I first started working there, it was made very clear that we needed to know all the companies, all the brands that we carried inside and out, and along with the products. That's where my knowledge, my excessive knowledge of Canada Goose comes from. Now, I started working at this particular company just before Canada Goose really blew up. So I was there from the kind of nearly the beginning to when it really blew up to when it's been like, and then over the last couple of years, whatever you want to call it. I think it's definitely started to dwindle over the years. I think the obsession of getting a goose is still there. But for the last season, I've been very out of touch of it, out of touch with all of it, mostly because I don't work for that company anymore. But that's kind of where my extensive knowledge comes from for Canada Goose. Now, because I worked in the retail industry, I dealt with a lot of people. I dealt with hundreds of thousands of customers on a monthly to a daily basis. I would deal with a lot of people every single day, and a lot of people who are Canada Goose customers. And there were a lot of issues from the customer side of it to dealing with people from Canada Goose to, just my personal experiences and other stories from other people that I've heard. And basically, it's just all of it. Working the retail side of it there's so many frustrating layers to this story. Whether it was customers that would ask us when we would get inventory in, we never knew. For a period of time, Canada Goose did a really good job of actually sending us reports, monthly reports of what we would get in, what products, and like how much inventory of what products we would get in. So we were able to keep on top of it. It helped the business run smoothly. It helped with getting the customers what they wanted. It was just kind of perfect at the time, but then they stopped doing that, and they stopped keeping clear contact with us, and then they started to really not give us any sort of answer, and then they started not really responding, and really avoided helping us at all, which is really frustrating for the amount of money we were making this company. And that's just like one problem of like hundreds of problems. I would have daily phone calls of people screaming at me and crying and complaining and bitching and moaning about the fact that they couldn't get their Canada Goose, that we didn't have the answers, that we couldn't give them this, that, and the other thing. It was it was just an incredibly frustrating situation. And to say that people screamed at me is putting it nicely. The other massive problem that we faced on a daily basis was Canada Goose and their shitty warranty. Now, the warranty itself is not too bad. I think the fact that they do case by case is just a cop-out answer. I think some situations can be very case by case, and it's very understanding, shit happens, and sometimes the customer is very much in the right, and that can happen, and that's when the case-by-case thing, you know, makes sense. But kind of advertising it as case-by-case is bullshit, and I think it's a cop-out, and I think it's caused a lot of the problems that they have now hopefully began to realize. I think the fact that their return on warranty has gone from 4 to 6 weeks to 8 to 12 weeks, and I don't know if that's even becoming even longer this winter, because again, I don't work for that company, so I don't have a first-hand experience anymore. But before I left, the return from, if you were to drop off your Canada Goose coat to us from anywhere between, I would say, late October to probably March till now, you wouldn't see your coat back for 8 to 12 weeks, which I think that turnover rate, like the turnover for that is absolutely, it's just inexcusable. I think that's fucking ridiculous for a company who sells some of the best winter coats out there, or the best winter coat out there, can't get people back their winter coats on time for winter. I think that's just mind-blowing. I think that's a ridiculous excuse, and I don't think it's fair to the customers. I think it's absolutely insane. I had hundreds of people screaming and crying at me because they couldn't get their coat. And I agree. I totally agree. I understand where your frustration is coming from. It's insane. I don't want to wait 12 weeks. I dread the day that something busts on one of my Canada Goose coats. I know that day, I'm just not even going to bother returning it or trying to deal with the warranty. I know that day, when that day comes, I'm going to have to go buy a new winter coat, and it's not going to be Canada Goose. That's the thing that I'm dreading, because I just know there's no point in sending my Goose coat back, because it's just going to take forever. I was recently told a story by somebody that works within the coat / cleaning / making, you know, just the industry of coats and stuff, that he personally returned a goose coat back from his wife's goose coat. I think they lost the hood or something, and they had been waiting 6 months for a replacement, and once they finally got their replacement, it was the wrong hood for the coat. Like, that blows my fucking mind. How do you fuck something up so bad? Like, how? Why? How? I don't even know. I don't have the answer to that. But it's just like, it's the simple mistakes like that that's just mind-blowing to me. But that turnover rate alone is just makes my blood boil, because how do you run a business like that? How do you fail so hard at running a business like that? Nobody should have to wait 12 weeks to get their coat back for winter. It's just mind-boggling. And you leave such a tiny window for people to drop off their coats and to get it back at a reasonable time, that it's just like, it's not possible. It's going to take forever either way. So it's just like, you make it impossible for the people that are trying to make you more money to succeed. That's one thing that pisses me off. The other thing that we dealt with and I faced, and that really makes my blood boil and really pisses me off, is the one particular rep that we had to deal with over the last 2 years, or 2.5 years, I suppose. And this particular woman, I'm not gonna share her name because I don't think that's appropriate, but this one woman was a fucking piece of work. She was hired on when this company blew up, when Canada Goose really blew up, and they were kind of trying to figure out where to go with things, and they hired her to represent their company for a certain region. I will let you guess which region that is. But this woman came in. When she first came in, our company, the company I worked for, in the mornings would have morning meetings, and usually we would have companies come in, like other brands, reps from brands would come in and talk about new collections. They would talk about the brands themselves. They would give us the typical speech of like what technology they're using. So it was really cool, because that was the time where we got to answer a lot of questions, would have a lot of questions answered. There you go. My brain's not working today. And they would come in and talk to us about just the products and all of that. So that was really cool, because then we really got to communicate and really have again, a lot of, questions answered. Now, this woman, when she first came in first couple of times, really had no idea what the fuck she was talking about. She had no grasp of, like, the products or the company or really anything at all, which really pissed me off as a person that really busted my ass and really loved Canada Goose. If you had asked me 3 years ago if I wanted to work for Canada Goose, I would have told you I would have died to have worked for Canada Goose. I would have loved to work for Canada Goose. If you ask me now, fuck no. I would not want to work for that company. Not unless they were paying me a hell of a lot of money. But this particular woman, after 2 years' time, there was one specific incident that I want to bring up to you guys, and just to give you guys an insight to where my hatred and frustration comes from. The reason I loved this company so much was because I loved their products. I loved the brand. I loved what they represented and what I was introduced to years ago. Now, obviously, I spent many years selling these products, and that, it kind of, I loved the customers. I loved the story. I loved kind of the back and forth I had every single day. So there was one morning where her and a couple other people came from Canada Goose to do a morning presentation thing. They were giving us a presentation on the spring collection and this big exciting presentation because they were really going to launch the spring collection. Now we had actually received the spring collection a year earlier or the year before. I don't know what happened there, but they never really gave us any information. There was no real launch. They never really did anything about it. And I would say that this particular launch for this last year was kind of a sad, pathetic excuse. There was no real launch. They never really gave us any information. They, again, never really answered any questions. This woman still couldn't tell me how waterproof these shells were. And yes, I do need to know how waterproof your shell is, especially if you're comparing it to an Arc'teryx shell. Arc'teryx is another Canadian company that produces, in my opinion, the best of the best technical shells and technical products and gear. I love Arc'teryx, and Arc'teryx, hands down, has replaced Canada Goose on my top list of favorites of like favorite products and brands and companies. It's definitely number one. Canada Goose is somewhere near the bottom. And to compare yourself to a company that has perfected the perfect shell is just a pathetic joke. Mostly because your shells are terribly designed. This woman proceeded to tell me that one of the shells that has a packable hood in the collar, that if I were to go hiking and it started raining, I could pull it out and use it as an emergency hood. This particular hood is the flimsiest hood I have ever seen in my entire life. It is poorly designed. It barely comes out of the whole collar. It barely covers your head. It barely stays on top of my head. It has no adjustments whatsoever, so it doesn't really stay on your head. This coat basically would be better off not having a hood whatsoever. And I pointed that out to her, and she gave me the sarcastic smile, and oh, good to know. You're asking me these fucking questions, and then you're being a complete and utter cunt about, the way I'm responding back to your questions. I've never dealt with a person that I wanted to slap more in the face in my entire life. She not only couldn't answer questions, but she was taking feedback back. Like, she couldn't take feedback in any sort of, capacity of an adult in any what way. So that was one thing. Not only the last time I saw the spring collection when it came in and we opened the coats up, were they falling apart on the inside, and I pointed that out, and before I could even finish my sentence, she rudely interrupted me and told me that, the problem is being dealt with. I'm like, okay, good to know. Because you're asking me to sell this $500 coat that's falling apart, and I'm not going to do it. Now, a couple of you have actually asked me how I feel about the quality of the parkas. Has it gone down? Has it changed? So, because I quit towards, September of last year, and I didn't get to see the coats this previous season, I really can't speak to the quality of this last season. But the parkas themselves, I don't really think the quality has changed. I think it's just the way they produce these coats as far as the sizes. I think the way the styles are produced, they're very different from one another. They fit completely differently from one another, and they fit customers with different body shapes differently. So I think the quality of the parkas is not really changed as far as I know, but the quality of their spring collection and their newer products has definitely fallen off. I'm sure they have fixed the problem. I would like to believe, at least, but I can't say for sure, so I don't know. The quality of the shells, I really can't speak for. There's only one shell that I really liked out of their collection, and it was their coastal. It was a long trench coat, and I wouldn't wear that hiking or climbing or doing anything really like doing any activities. I would just wear it every single day, like as a trench coat, and I'm not going to spend almost $800 on a trench coat that I don't know how waterproof it is. So that's a major issue. Now, next up to bat, the marketing guy / somebody off the marketing team was also there and decided to tell us that the marketing campaign that they're so excited for and their backing is going to be completely reliant on the fact that they are going to rely on celebrities wearing their products and being represented that way. And I looked at him and I nearly burst out into laughter again. This guy, the fact that they're relying on celebrities to market their products is a joke, and I think it's ridiculous. I think it's a sad excuse for you not doing your job properly and getting paid stupid amounts of money, I'm sure, to do absolutely nothing, which is just a slap in the face to your customers, to the people that are making you millions of dollars, and just to everybody else that loves your products. Now, this is not even the best of the best part of the story. Later on that day, in the evening time, this woman came back to do a second presentation for our evening staff that was coming in that night to work the rest of the evening. And some of the girls had shown up a little bit earlier, and I mentioned to them, I'm like, ask her as many questions as you possibly can, because it's going to frustrate her and it's probably going to piss her off, but it's just going to be hilarious to watch. So just ask her a whole bunch of questions, which they ended up doing. And once the whole thing, I think, ended up being like 15-20 minutes or something, and they came back out and they came over to me and told me they had asked her a bunch of questions and she was visibly getting frustrated, which is just like makes me laugh on the inside and a little on the outside. But they had also asked her, how do you clean these shells? And she had turned to them and told a room full of people who have been selling her products, for her company's products and the company she represents, and most of these people had worked there and been selling these products probably anywhere from 6 months, anywhere to 2+ years, and know her products and know the answer to this question, but asked it anyways. And she turned to them and told them to dry clean the shell. Bitch, what? Now, for any of you who know anything about technical products or just common knowledge, if you put plastics under extreme heat, they melt. So basically, this woman was telling to the staff to tell their customers that are spending $700-800 on these shells to execute their shells at the dry cleaners. You cannot dry clean a shell. You cannot. It's going to melt. It's going to the chemicals that they use is going to completely strip like the waterproofing on the shells. It's probably going to also delaminate the pieces that are laminated together. You just can't dry clean it. And any dry cleaner that has any common sense will most likely say no. But the sad fact of this whole thing is if she had simply opened up the coat, there is a 4 to 5 inch white long tag. I don't know if the new collection still has that same design of the tags, but the year before they did. 4 to 5 inches of the most detailed, descriptive cleaning instructions I have ever seen on any product my entire life. So the fact that she was ignorant enough to not even open up the coat that she is selling to us, that is in turn selling hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars worth of these products, she couldn't simply open up this coat and read the damn tag, is just a slap to the face and is a joke. And I was just fuming for the next couple of days because I was just so pissed off about how stupid this woman was. And the fact that she didn't care enough to open up her own damn product that she's been selling for the last 2 years. The fact that she walked into our store and told us that, I mean, we can laugh it off and make it clear that that's obviously a joke and you don't do that. But if she walked into another store that sold just clothes, regular fashion clothes, had no idea of any sort of technical products or had no knowledge of it, she would be basically screwing that retail store and that company over for the future. And it's just mind-boggling, the fact that this woman's worked there for so long and is probably getting paid a stupid amount of money and doesn't know a single thing that she's talking about when it comes to this company. It pissed me off so much because I was somebody that worked at this other company for so many years selling these products, and I loved this product. I loved Canada Goose. I loved selling it to customers and making people happy and helping them out and finding them exactly what they needed, because it had... The reason I loved it so much is because it had benefited me so much. Like, Canada Goose codes work for me and kept me warm and keep me warm to this day. And I love being able to help customers and find what they need and helping them stay warm during the winter time as well. That's the reason I loved Canada Goose so much. There are so many incidences that are, like, there's hundreds and hundreds of more frustrating situations, like the fact that Canada Goose has not clarified the rumor that they refill coats is bullshit. It is the only company or only set of customers that owns these products that I've ever experienced come into the store for warranty purposes and tell me straight to my face that they are back to, they're sending their coat back to Canada Goose to be refilled. I have never had customers for any other brand, North Face, Macaj, Parajumper, any other brand, come back and ask that ridiculous request. It's just Canada Goose that people make up their own fucking rules because they've spent $900, almost $1,000 on a coat, and have been stupid enough to not do the research to take care of their coat, don't listen when we're telling them how to take care of it, or have just worn the absolute shit and have treated it like crap and now it's falling apart. And Canada Goose hasn't stepped up in any way to kind of clarify the black and white about their warranty or how to take care of their coats. All they've promoted is buy, buy, buy. And if that doesn't make it clear that they are all about money and don't give a shit about the products or their customers anymore, then I don't know what else does. I clearly don't love Canada Goose anymore. I will be absolutely willing... Sorry, I have a hair on my lip. That will not go away. I would be absolutely willing to do more Canada Goose videos if you guys have questions or if you guys are interested in hearing more about the company. The only reason I do these videos at this point is just because I have so much background knowledge, and I am always down to help anybody out that is looking to do research or is looking to have those questions answered, because this company is clearly failing to do so. And no, I'm not getting paid to do these videos. No, I'm not getting paid to answer any of these questions. And no, I was not getting paid enough to sell those damn coats back in the day. So it's not something that I still love. It's not a company I still care to promote, but I'm still willing to answer questions. Yes, I guess it's still ironic because I wear my Canada Goose every single day, so I guess I still technically am promoting them, but it is what it is. I know at the back of my mind, and I know for a fact, again, the day that my Canada Goose breaks, any of my gooses break or fall apart, that is the day I'm gonna have to buy a brand new winter coat, and it's not gonna be Canada Goose. I'm not even gonna bother to send it back again to the company because it's just not worth it. So I hope this video has been entertaining. It's long. Again, I tried to make it short. For any of you who have watched or are still watching and have watched all my videos and have been keeping in contact with me and just been dropping by and sending comments in the comment section or getting in touch with me through Instagram and Twitter, I really appreciate it, guys, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. If you guys, again, have any questions, all of the links will be down in the description box down below. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.